The quiet house. The first strange thing about the house was that it swallowed sound, not muffled, not softened, gone. When Mara and her dad moved in, she noticed it right away. The front door slammed shut behind them. She saw it slam, but there was no bang, no echo, nothing. Her dad laughed like it was cool. "Guess we won't wake the neighbors," he joked. Mara didn't laugh because even her own voice felt strange. When she spoke, she could feel the words in her throat, but they didn't seem to reach her ears the right way, like the house was eating the sound before it could travel. She clapped her hands. She felt the sting in her palms, but the air stayed silent. No echo. Her bedroom was upstairs, square, plain, one window, facing the backyard. She dropped her backpack on the floor. She watched it hit. No thud. She stomped. Nothing. It wasn't like being deaf. She could still hear her own breathing, her heartbeat, the soft sound of her clothes moving, but anything that touched the house itself made no noise at all. She tested it, knocked on the wall. Silence. Tapped the window. Silence. She opened and closed her closet door over and over. She could see it move, but the world stayed still and soundless. It made her skin crawl. The outside. That night she looked out her window. She could see trees swaying in the wind, leaves blowing across the yard, but the branches made no rustling. The world beyond the glass looked like a video on mute. She pressed her ear to the window. Nothing. It wasn't just the house. It was everything touching it, like the property sat under a giant invisible glass bowl. Cut off. The video. The second night, Mara set up her phone to record while she slept. "If the house is weird," she muttered, "maybe I'll see something." In the morning, she watched the video. At first, it was normal, just her sleeping. Then at 2:03 a.m., her bedroom door opened. Slowly, she sat up in bed in the video, but she didn't remember waking up. On screen, she turned her head toward the doorway and stayed that way for hours. Not moving, just sitting upright, facing the open door. The hallway beyond was completely dark. At 6:12 a.m., she lay back down. At 7, her alarm went off and she woke up normally. She had no memory of any of it. There had been no sound to wake her. The hallway. The third night, she didn't sleep. She sat in bed with the lights off, staring at her door, waiting. Her room was so quiet it made her ears ache. Then the door began to open, not fast, not slow, just steady. She watched the handle turn, watched the door swing inward. No creak, no movement of air, nothing. Beyond it, the hallway was darker than it should have been, like the shadows were thicker than darkness. She waited to see someone, something, but nothing came in. The door just stayed open, like the house was looking at her. The rules she learned. The next morning, she noticed something new. Her door was closed again, but her desk chair had moved. It now faced her bed. She knew she hadn't touched it. She tested something that afternoon. She rolled the chair across the floor. No sound. She turned it slowly. Still nothing. Then she left the room for an hour. When she came back, the chair was closer to the bed, facing her pillow. She started keeping notes. Things only moved when she wasn't looking, and she never, ever heard them move. The backyard one evening, she stepped outside. The moment she walked off the porch, sound exploded back into the world, wind, birds, cars in the distance. She almost cried from relief. She turned back toward the house. It stood there quietly, like always. Windows dark, still, waiting. She stepped back onto the porch. Silence dropped again like a heavy blanket. She could see the trees moving, but couldn't hear them anymore. Then she noticed something in her bedroom window. A shape, standing where her bed would be, watching her from inside. It didn't move, but she knew one thing with absolute certainty: it had not been there when she left. The last recording that night, she recorded again. In the morning, she watched with shaking hands. At 1:58 a.m., her bedroom door opened. She stayed asleep this time. At 2:10, something stepped into the room. She couldn't hear it, but she could see the mattress sink slightly near her feet, then slowly. Her body slid down the bed, like something was pulling her by the ankles. Inch by inch, her head disappeared out of frame. The camera kept recording. Her room sat empty. At 6:47 a.m., her door closed. At 7 o'clock, her alarm rang. Her bed was empty. They never heard a thing. Her dad told the police she must have run away. There were no signs of struggle, no broken locks, no noise in the night. Nothing disturbed. The house sat quietly, like it always had. A for sale sign went up a month later. Families came to tour it. They commented on how peaceful it felt, how quiet, how calm. And sometimes if someone stood very still in the upstairs hallway, they might notice a bedroom door gently closing at the end of the hall, with absolutely no sound at all.